Oh, good.
We're going chasing.
Hello there, and welcome to...
We're going chasing.
Hello, now, and welcome to...
We're going chasing.
Now, we have a lot on the agenda, lads, so we'll cut the chase and get straight down to the business.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of We're Going Chasing. We're back to the Monday Club, Killian, and how was your weekend?
Good, yeah, quite. Obviously the racing wasn't as good this weekend as the last couple of weekends, so didn't go to Navan now. So I know you were there, but I wasn't anywhere. No, other than that, disappointing loss for the Arsenal at Villa Park yesterday or Saturday, but not too bad other than that.
Yeah. Did you get around to any GA games or anything like that? No, sitting at home for the weekend.
Not this time of year. Shit, there's no matches on.
Did you go drinking?
No, did you?
No.
Quite enough, so.
You didn't leave the house, basically, so it's like
I did leave the house. I was flat out.
So you know absolutely everything about every horse that is around this weekend.
Except for the Henry VIII. I wiped that from memory.
Well, what I picked up from this conversation is that you're totally and utterly clued in. You've got
I'm always
horses
clued in.
Horses to follow, eye catchers, the whole lot. You missed nothing this weekend.
I'm always clued in.
It's what I'm picking up.
Same as every week.
Jesus, I'm not sure about that, Killian. Look, we'll get into the performance rankings. And we'll start off like we always do in the green. And we've got Away Fay. He obviously won the grade 2 on Friday, beating Giovinco. Stayed on very well. Was quite a taking performance, Killian?
I think it was, yeah. Like the two of them pulled well clear of third. He's now the clear favourite for the Brown Advisory. I think it's fair enough. It was a really good performance. I think there was a lot to like about his jumping as well. He was a good bit better than he had been the first day out. And you saw the big leap he made that day in Exeter to win the race as well.
Yeah.
Like he's well capable of standing off them and pinging them as well. So that's nice to have in his toolbox going forward. Gave £3 to Giovinco as well. So there's nothing. There's no excuses on Giovinco's side. Maybe he'll be better on better ground, but I'd see the same result again if they raced again, to be honest.
Yeah. I'd love to see Hermes Allen there. I'd love to know from Paul Nichols, what does he think? Hermes Allen, Away Fay. I think if Hermes Allen was over 3 miles, he'd be just as good.
No.
Away Fay, to be honest. I don't think there's that much between them whatsoever. But unfortunately, Paul Nichols seems to be talking about how fast of a horse Hermes Allen is, which I don't entirely agree with. But I don't think over 3 mile would be that much between them, and he's the favourite.
But who would Cobden ride? Away Fay or Hermes Allen?
God knows.
I know it's a very simple answer. It's Away Fay. Yeah, like 100% over 3 miles. You got the proven stayer, like.
Yeah, okay.
Like he'll stay all day for you.
Yeah. I'm sure he would ride the proven stayer over 3 miles. That would make sense. But
horse as well.
But sure, how many times has Paul Townend on the wrong horse? How many times is Rachel Blackmore? How many times is Ruby Walsh on the wrong horse? That happens.
Yeah, he won't beat Away Fay. Sorry.
Well, they won't be running against each other, you'd imagine.
You better hope they don't, because you'll lose a fortune back in the.
Well, I'm sure, and at some stage, Hermes Allen will be up to 3 miles. And then we'll find out what sort of an animal he is. But I'd hold out strong hope for him. And then on top of that, obviously, you're saying Away Fay is the right favourite for the RSA. What I'd say to you there is just wait until Christmas. Florian Porter is going to shake the whole thing up at Christmas. Once he gets back going around left-handed, he's going to be a different prospect altogether, as we know from previous form over hurdles.
Fucking hell.
Jonbon in the Tingle Creek. He's in the green, but Guy Killian, I thought 2 fences out from home there. I thought he was going to be in a bit of bother. I thought Haddocks to Zabo ran a great race there on ground that he loves. Edward Stone ran on well there as well. Probably wasn't as flamboyant a performance as some may have been expecting from Jonbon.
Yeah, but I think that speaks to the quality of Jonbon. Like he can dig in and do it the hard way as well. And like I think he wasn't jumping at his best. I know he made a bit of a mistake at the pond fence as well, but Nico got him back on it again, and like coming to the second last, you knew he was going to win. It was just, I suppose, how far he was going to win by, and like he's won coldly enough, to be honest. I think 2 3/4 lengths, another few lengths back to Hazabo, who's ran a clear career best, but again, he's very ground dependent. Like Jonbon's better horse on better ground, so you saw that in Sandown at the end of last season when he kicked Captain Guinness aside, who was a really, really good horse as well. So yeah, I think there was a lot to like about the way Jonbon sort of dug in there the last day, and hopefully he gets as far as the Clarence House now. Another grade one, him and El Fabiolo take each other on, get two runs against each other there and at Cheltenham as well, hopefully.
It'd be great if that happened.
Yeah, hopefully it does. I think Willie's saying he's going to go to the Clarence House. So like that opens up a lot on the Irish side as well, over 2 miles, the 2 grade ones, obviously Christmas, and then the DRF, the Dublin Chase as well. So like if El Fabio is going to go to Ascot, you'd assume that like you're looking at the likes of Captain Guinness, aren't you? Like they're saying he's a great chance now at Christmas. You'd assume he'd have a similar good chance unless he's well beaten into DRF as well. So be horses like that can pick up grade ones that El Fabiolo is going to cross.
Yeah, hopefully El Fabiolo does go over to Ascot, and then indeed you'll have a competitive race there at Ascot, and in those 2 races you've mentioned in Ireland, they'll be competitive too, because you won't have El Fabiolo there, not in both of them anyway. So that would be great to see. Next in the Green Killian is Gordon Elliott. He had a 4-timer at his local track at Navan, loves having winners at Navan, always sends a very strong team there, and then had a double today in Cork. Just looking at Navan, first of all, it was 4 winners: Gigaro, Caldwell, Potter, both of them in maiden hurdles, embittered in the Fox Rock Handicap Chase, and then my trump card was very impressive in the bumper. 3 good young horses there. If you were to pick one of them going forward, where would you be looking?
Maybe the bumper horse. I'd say he'd be a good prospect over hurdles next year. I think Caldwell Potter is very good as well. But yeah, he's having an awful lot of winners this year. He's, by all accounts, he's going to break his record for a season's total. So that's great for Gordon, and it makes him more competitive with the Trainers' Championship with Willie as well.
Yeah. I just see Everton are after going 2-0 up there against Chelsea.
Savage.
Everton are flying, aren't they?
It wasn't Tarkovsky, was it?
No, it wasn't. No, Lewis Dobbin.
Who's that?
No idea.
Fair enough.
Dobbs 2-0, known as Dobbs according to the Everton Twitter page.
Okay.
But geez, Chelsea are in a spot of bother and Everton are flying it, to be fair.
Yeah, Everton.
I'd love to see them get the 10-point deduction overturned and see where they end up this year, because
I'd say they'd finish above United.
Let's not.
They'd only be 3 points behind them.
Is that all it would be? Yeah. Let's not bring United into the conversation, Killian. Or we might have to call this off a small bit early. We'll move on to Cork then. No Time to Wait and Search for Glory were 2 winners. Thought Search for Glory was particularly impressive. Had a couple of goals at 3 Mile last year. Never really fully worked out for him. He was a huge price the night before at 7-2, and was rightly backed into favouritism, and won going away really quite nicely.
Yeah, he was really impressive. I don't know. I liked him last year, and he ran a really good race behind Hidden Valley Lake and Monty Star and Clonmel in the short haul, and then just the spring festivals never really clicked for him. But I think the Henry's 2 horses were well beaten in the Bartlett as well, so I'd say that race probably knocked a bit out of them. But he came back. He's won a maiden hurdle in Galway, and he was beaten behind Crow Park, who looks very good horse as well, the last day. So yeah, he was very impressive there today. I think Mahon's Way was a small bit disappointing. He emptied fairly quickly. He was seen to be his main market rival, but yeah, take nothing away from Search for Glory. He was very impressive. But I don't know, would you be backing him for a Bartlett like year 2? Wouldn't want to be going down that rabbit hole with him. But yeah, he'd be a good horse over fences next year, I'd say.
Yeah, he will indeed. The performance of the weekend then for me probably, and was a horse that I was against before the weekend, was Slade Steel. Stellar Story obviously led pretty much the whole way around, and he was the horse that I fancied for it. But Slade Steel came from off the pace. And just really, once he jumped the last, he really extended away because Lecky Watson was coming with a strong run. And if Slade Steel hadn't found another gear and had just stayed plugging on the way he was, he would have been bet. But he was well able to find more in what was quite heavy ground. And I thought that that was quite taking over 2 mile 4. It'll be interesting to see now where they go with him. But he certainly looks happy enough at that trip.
Yeah, I think so. And I don't know, the ground would have suited him too much. Like, what I liked about him was he sort of had to quicken to get to the to get to lead coming to the last, and then he had to go away from them again. So
Yeah, to go again.
it was fairly impressive. But I don't know, I was a bit surprised by how Stiller's story ran. Like, he didn't seem to, like, I know it was very testing ground, but you'd imagine that would have suited him. And like, he didn't go that hard. Like, he didn't make it the real stamina test I thought he wanted. Maybe they thought he's a quicker horse than maybe I think, but like, I would have said that he needed 3 miles really to be seen at his best. And like, I didn't think he made it a real slog stamina test that you would have anticipated from him. Like, and I think Lecky Watson has definitely stepped a lot forward from his maiden hurdle run as well. He just beat Rushmount in Thurles, and like, he was getting weight off Shannon Royale, who's come out in franked form again since beating Tully Hill in a very strange race really. But so I think the depth of that maiden hurdle in Thurles definitely looks a good bit stronger now. But Slade Steel, I'd say, would he be Lawler's horse maybe?
Yeah,
It's about a month away, so I think
Yeah.
that might be his one. But he's entitled to step into grade ones now anyway.
Yeah, speaking of
yeah.
the dollars, I saw an ad there on Facebook only a couple of days ago. €10 for tickets is all. Advanced price tickets into the dollars.
Where'd you see it?
Facebook.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. But €10 to get in early price tickets. That's fair value.
Yeah, savage.
You know, like, you really can't beat some of the value that National Hunt Racing will give you. But you'd imagine that would be the logical route for him. And just on Lecky Watson, it's a pity there's not a 4 miler over hurdles, because I'd say he'd win it. At the festival. Like, I'd say, if you were to pick out one horse now for 2025, you'd almost say Lecky Watson in the 4 miles.
Yeah,
he's incredibly slow, and he'll just stay plugging on.
Yeah, he is very, very slow.
Like,
but Jesus, he's like, you wouldn't completely discount him in a Bartlett when he goes up to 3 miles. Like, he is a bit of class as well. Like, he was finished close enough to them in the champion bumper. I don't know, like, I wouldn't be completely knocking him, like, but I think Slade Steel's a fair detail, and I think he'd be better on better ground as well over this sort of trip.
Yeah, and I reckon Lecky Watson, I think it was the ground that brought him into this race a hell of a lot.
Potentially.
I'd say if you had 2 mile 4 there and a nicer ground, I'd say he wouldn't lay up in it at all. And I'd say even over 3 miles at Cheltenham, I wouldn't be that keen on him. I'd say there'd be something there with a bit more class. Indiana Dream was another horse, Killian, who ran a lovely race at Navan. Best San Felician by 13 lengths. Which is great for him based off San Felician's first run in a beginner's chase, where he was only bet by 9 or 10 lengths by Facile Vega.
Yeah, I'd say that was performance of the weekend, to be honest. I think that slightly just eclipsed what Slade Steel did. He just, you knew a long way out when they turned into the straight really how well he was going, and I just thought it was a case of how far. And like, they've been well strung out on bad ground up at Navan. Like, San Felician was bet 13 lengths, Santonito another 13 behind. Shambally Kid looked very, very poor, to be honest. Hidden Valley Lake was beaten when he came down as well. Well, it looked like he was beaten anyway, but I think, there's a lot to like about that Indiana Dream, and I'd say he's only had 3 starts. Like, how good is he? I wonder. Like, he's hammered on V in a maiden hurdle back on New Year's Day. On V is rated, is he in the 130s now over hurdles? Might be a small bit higher. He's 131 over hurdles, so like, he's beaten a pretty nice horse there, convincingly. So he looks even to have eclipsed that form there over fences yesterday by a nice bit. So you'd wonder, like how good he could be, and it could be another nice one for JP.
Yeah, indeed. Super impressive. Another man in the green is Nicky Henderson. And he's got a lot of stick this weekend. But as far as he's concerned, he's got to do what's right for his horses, and he's got to make tough decisions, when needed. And I say fair play to him. He obviously felt that the ground for Constitution Hill, for Willmount, and for Shishkin was going to affect him negatively going on later in the year. Whether lads on Twitter don't like it or what they feel about it, is sort of irrelevant to Nicky and Nicky's owners. And the horses, there'll be other targets for these horses down the line. They still run somewhere else. And I think I'd nearly tip my hat to him, to be honest, Gillian.
Yeah, I agree with, like, it's very hard to get Constitution Hill back for Kempton, if he runs yesterday or Saturday. Like it was extremely testing ground. Like I think it was lucky the racing went ahead in Sandown and Aintree, to be honest. But I think it was definitely testing ground. But like the horse would have been fine on it, but he just wouldn't be able to go to Christmas instead. And I think that's what annoyed me. Like he declared the horse knowing what the ground was like. Instead of he just been said, look, I'm going to Christmas. I don't think anyone can complain. We know you can't get the 2 races in, like, but why is he declaring them? So, like, it's just a bit, I don't know. Was he expecting there to be some sort of heat wave that was going to dry the ground out or something? I don't know. Like,
yeah, well, at the end of the day, he gave his horses every chance to run in the race if they could. Like
yeah, but he knew the ground. Like, I think he's
no, like
clearly.
there was a lot of late rain too. There's a lot of rain the night before and on Friday. Which he wouldn't have known when he was declaring. Now, he would have known by the forecast that it was coming, and he would have known that the ground was probably already soft or heavy. But, like, I see nothing wrong with him declaring the horses and then making the decision on the day, saying, no, that ground, I'm not happy with it.
Yeah, I don't agree with you, but I think he knew he wasn't running them, and he declared them for, I don't know what
So
reason.
why would he declare him if he knew?
I don't know, but
knew
like
for definite on a Thursday morning.
I could have told you earlier in the week he wasn't running them, like. The way he was talking, like, and I get why he's not running them. I understand it, like, but I just don't know why he bothered declaring him. Like, it was a bit strange, like.
Yeah, I think my view on it is he was giving the horses every chance. Silent Approach and Danny Mullins won the Grade 2 Mayor's Chase at Cork today. Harmonia Maker was back in second, slightly disappointing jumping out to her left. But Danny Mullins made a mid-race move, Killian, and that was probably the winning and losing of the race.
Yeah, I'd say if you give me said I can back 4 horses in this race, I wouldn't have backed her. She was rated 109 over hurdles. She'd been impressive on Chase debut, but you couldn't really foresee her coming to this, getting to this level, against what looked 2 really good horses, and Hot to Wear as well. It was a nice horse as well. She's 130 hurdler too, so you'd have lost a few quid if you were backing a few different ones. But yeah, she was very impressive. Danny made a move, I think, was out the back. And just, I don't know, thought maybe they're not going quick enough for him. The leader, Harmonia Maker, was jumping out to her left, and probably said, I'll just wander up the inside here and end up leading. And yeah, he looked like 2 out. He looked the winner, and the horse didn't stop, galloped all the way to the line. So it's very impressive by her, and good win for Con O'Keefe as well. And he bred the horse too, so that's nice to see it.
And finally, the last horse in the green is the double green of Isaac Swade and Simon Munir, El Fabiolo. Again, did what he needed to do, giving away a lump of weight to Field Door and Mascada. Jungle Boogie then was further back down the field, but gave away a lot of weight and won as you'd expect, really, Killian.
Yeah, you would. He's brilliant horse, isn't he? Like, and I'd say that the ground there he probably didn't enjoy that either. So, you have to mark it up a small bit more. Yeah, he's always capable of throwing in a clanger, and he sort of did it the last. I'd say if you'd have bet on him at 1 to 5, you'd have been definitely nervous as he jumped the last. But yeah, it was a piece of work, really, I think, and yeah, he seems to be planning on going to the Clarence House now, which would be great to see him, as we said, to go against Jonbon. Field Doors ran a savage race. Like he was given Mascada £7 and he's beaten her by 3.5 lengths. And this is ground she loves. And she still ran an all right race. She hasn't probably ran to her mark, but she's still like, you know, mares they're in and out, and maybe she might be better after with a couple of runs into her. But Fieldor, yeah, he was definitely taken enough in that. But yeah, you'd be excited now for El Fabiolo versus Jonbon. And
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I know he was impressive today, but like I now I've been down this road 2 years in a row with Jonbon in the Supreme and in the Arkle, but like I definitely think Jonbon is closer now than what he was after the Arkle last year. I think his jumping's improved. Nico seems to be getting a really good tune out of him. I don't know if he's going to be keeping the ride or not, but Jonbon seems to be in really good form. I like the way he grounded out the last day, and he was really impressive at Cheltenham. He's attacking his fences a bit more than he did in the Arkle, and yeah, I wouldn't say it's a certainty that El Fabiolo would beat Jonbon. Then after the Arkle last year, I would have said it was, but it's definitely they're definitely closer in my mind anyway.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you in terms of you know, there isn't a whole pile between them, and the more times we see them against each other this year, the better. Like you'd nearly find it hard to see. Certainly, they'd hardly meet 3 times, but if they met twice, like, you know, if either El Fabiola or Jambon was to win both races, you know, it would be a fair achievement, I reckon.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think they're both top horses, like, and it's
Yeah.
great to have them around at the same time to run against each other as well.
We'll move on to the Amber, Killian, and the first is Cocoa Beach in the Beecher. What a race he ran, I felt. You know, on very bad ground. Danny Gilligan gave him what would have been the ride of the year had he won the race. You know, he's left the leaders and the other horses just go away from him there, 3, 4 fences out. You know, and he's just bided his time and just has waited really and made sure that he got his horse home. He gave the horse the best possible chance of going winning the race, and just came up short in the end. But like, had he moved earlier with everybody else, you know, he probably would have been fourth or fifth. You know, because he was carrying 12 stone, scandalous weight.
Yeah.
Really. And I just felt, all things considered, it was a very good performance from both horse and jockey.
Yeah, agreed. I think £22 he gave to the winner and got beaten 13 lengths. Like, he was always going to enjoy that type of ground. Cocoa Beach, he seems to really thrive in that. And yeah, I did a few quid in him each way as well, and I was thinking, Jesus, he's probably just not able to lie up to them at all at the time. But I was thinking, Jesus, he really smuggled him into it, and coming to the second last, just thinking, Jesus, this lad actually has a right chance of winning it. But I think the winner, Chambrand, and it was a really good ride from Lucy Turner as well. I don't think we should miss that either. And that horse definitely enjoys the heavy ground. Won the Kim Muir at Cheltenham a couple of years ago as well on the Thursday. Really bad ground that day too. So I think, yeah, there was the first 2 home got very good rides. But Cocoa Beach, yeah, he's some horse for connections, really. He's won a lot of big races, and he seems to run a big race a lot of the time as well. Like, he obviously won the Tri-Town. He was third in the national at Limerick. He won the Irish national trial last year in Punchestown. He was fourth in the Thyestes, fourth in the Tri-Town before that, and he was eighth in a national. Like, he's a real good horse, isn't he? Like, a real honest horse. So
He is, yeah.
yeah, they've
Another horse in the race, Percussion, obviously came third. Now that's he's placed in the last 2 run-ins of the Beecher and the Grand Sefton. I think he's been third 3 times and second once. And he was from £6 out of the handicap again at the weekend. You know, so probably an honourable mention to Percussion as well. And
yeah.
it's a pity for connections. They'd love to get a win over those iconic fences, I can imagine. But just hasn't quite worked out for them yet, and they've been thereabouts, and they'll have to wait again now until next year, one would imagine. But Search for Glory then at Cork, Killian's another horse in the Amber. Obviously a second season novice. Was quite impressive today, but probably isn't top level really. You'd be surprised if he was to go on and win a grade 1 this year.
Yeah, I think we sort of touched on it already that he's probably not a betting proposition for a Bartlett or any of the spring grade ones really. But like maybe he'll go back to Clonmel to the Sure Hall. He was beaten in it last year, was hit by Hidden Valley Lake and Monty Star. So he'll probably go back there again, and he'd be, he might take a bit of beating there. But I think as a proposition in grade ones, he's probably just not that. But yeah.
Yeah. And then on to the red. Top of the list, we've got Scumbags. A small minority, that's important to stress, of UK racecourse. There was a video circulating on social media in the last 24 hours or so of a fight at Aintree racecourse, and it's not the first time I've seen a brawl break out at a UK racecourse, and it's just a pity that a small number of cokeheads are ruining the fun for everybody else.
Yeah, agreed. You don't want to be seeing that. Like you go to a day at the races, you don't want to be like even witnessing a big brawl, no
Ah,
mind being involved in it. And I'm sure the people that were the opposite side of the brawl did nothing wrong. And probably just some prick decides I'm going to hit you a
yeah,
wallop here.
yeah. But it's very disappointing to see, really, and you just hope that it will never. We in Ireland we won't get the same small minority.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Causing-
I've never seen it in English race course that I've been at either. But
No,
yeah, thankfully. But I've never seen it in Ireland either, and
no,
obviously racing there a lot more. But yeah, hopefully the sniffer dogs. It doesn't seem to happen in Cheltenham. The sniffer dogs must be very good or
yeah.
something.
Yeah,
Um,
they
yeah,
must have good dogs.
yeah.
Or else maybe the small minority are priced out of it. You
They could
know,
be priced out of it. Maybe
maybe
that's
that's
an
the answer.
advantage to the Cheltenham prices. A
Yeah,
lot of people see give out about them saying, "Oh, how can you go to this place at 80 quid for a day?" But
yeah.
maybe they just haven't the price of it.
Yeah, so maybe the prices, and we spoke about the price of UK racing and stuff like that, and the fact it's a bit more expensive than Ireland as a negative. But maybe they should up the prices and price out these troublemakers, and they'd be at home then. And
Yeah, I don't think that's the answer either. Like, we don't want to stop the regular man going racing either. But yeah,
you
they need
don't, but
like
I'm talking a bit tongue in cheek here now, and I
yeah,
get
yeah,
what you're saying, but they're look, it's just disappointing to see a small minority,
ruining the fun for everyone else.
exactly, causing the havoc.
Yeah,
But if you haven't
cause
seen the video, if you search Aintree there on Twitter, I'm sure you'll find it. The fighting fifth is also in the red. We were unlucky to lose Constitution Hill and Shishkin, but it was a poor race really, and Not So Sleepy won it again, but it's in the red, Killian.
yeah. If someone told me that Not So Sleepy won a grade one this year, not only would I say you've completely lost the run of yourself, but like I'd be making phone calls to a GP to try and get you committed, like, because like this shouldn't be happening. Not So Sleepy shouldn't be beating two good mares in Love and Vi, and you wear it well. I don't care how bad the ground was. Like he's
Yeah,
he's 11 going 12, he's rated 150, he's way past his peak.
yeah.
Really, I saw someone say, "Oh, I had a few quid and Not So Sleepy because he always runs well in the fighting fifth." The fighting fifth is usually ran in Newcastle, a left-handed track. This race was in fucking was in Kempton, like, or right-handed, like, and you couldn't possibly say that's the reason you backed him. Like, he was beaten 14 lengths in it last year and hammered, and he went up to 3 miles at Christmas, hammered again by Paisley Park. He's actually a decent summer on the flat. He won a handicap in Newbury, and he was seventh in the Cesarewitch. But like that wasn't, we'll say, that wasn't a real increase in his form on the flat by a few pounds, I suppose. But like you couldn't say, oh yeah, he'll definitely improve going back over hurdles, and his mark's been sliding for the last year. And like I don't know, he racing post rating of 159 versus 155 last year. He's improved by a small bit, but it just highlights how bad a race it was.
Yeah, yeah. I know it was. It was very disappointing, really, of a race, and I hadn't actually realised that he was gone that low on the ratings down to 150. It makes even a further mockery of it. But I suppose maybe horses were scared away from Constitution Hill and that. But then again, I don't know what other horses there are there that could have went.
Well, Irish Point was entered. I'd say he'd have won it.
Yeah,
if
well,
he
I'm
ran
thinking
it,
more so English
especially in
horse.
that ground. But I think the English 2 mile hurdle division is absolutely putrid. There isn't outside of Constitution Hill. It is beyond repair. This season, you're hoping that they can unearth a couple of good novices now, because to come challenge Constitution Hill over the next couple of years. Because like I would have had high expectations for Love Envoy yesterday, and you were as well too. But they were both hammered by Not So Sleepy. And like, you can say, oh, it's great, we have an 11-year-old coming back winning grade ones, but like, is it really great if you want to have your nostalgic hat on? Yeah, but like, in terms of looking at the competitiveness of the races, like, you want to see these mares progressing through the ranks and coming to challenge Constitution Hill in the 2 mile division, not horses he's previously kicked aside with ease, coming winning races against promising mares.
Yeah, fully agreed. Our final race then in the red is the King Henry VIII, Killian, at Sandown again. Le Patron won it, Colonel Harry second, JPR 1 and 3rd. Just for grade 1, it was quite weak. The one thing I would say is I thought Petit Tonnerre was a small bit of an eye catcher back and forth in the JP McManus colours. It was a second run over fences, and I just thought that John O'Neill Jr. took it quite tenderly with him, we'll say. And it's just one to monitor going forward. But all in all, a disappointing race, and ICO as well, being lost as well, is a bit of a blow for Paul Nichols and Connections. But it's not a race you were planning to watch anyway, based on
no, and
Friday.
Unfortunately, I did watch it.
Okay.
I said in the preview podcast on Friday that I wasn't going to watch it, and it was about 4.5 minutes of time I'm never going to get back. Looking at it, it was bad viewing on bad ground, and to see a nice horse in ICO get it fatally injured was probably the icing on the cake you didn't want. No disrespect to Le Patron, but would he win a beginner's chase in Ireland? I'm not joking. Like, there's horses here that are absolute dogs. You can talk about Petit Tonnerre all you want there. I'd say you could go down a rabbit hole back in that horse this year. I don't know, has he does he find much off the bridle? I'd say he was, you could say, the same race in Cheltenham at the Arkle trial. He was tenderly given there as well. But yeah, it's looking a very weak division in the UK so far. Like we talked about Iroko there, they said Iroko was going to come back and run in this. I tell you, Iroko could have won by 10 lengths hard held, because he's this much better than the rest of these yokes. But yeah, it's I'm disappointed I watched it.
Yeah, it was, and it's a pity.
You can forget about every horse in the race. All 5 that are still alive, just forget they exist, and just don't think about them.
Okay, Killian. Very fair enough. That wraps up our performance rankings for this week. We're at about 4:20 here now, so we're going to go and watch the Tottenham Newcastle game. Spurs, Killian, 1 point in 5 matches. Newcastle, 2 losses in their last 5. A 1-0 win against Man United and a 4-1 win against Chelsea. That form has taken a few hits. Where would you see this one going?
Well, they're going to find it very hard to give Ange Manager of the Month. They will find it very hard. I think the Manager of the Month could be a curse, because like, Spurs are absolutely useless now. United were never any good. They just had fixtures against 3 very poor teams. I don't know. It's sure if Newcastle don't win it. If Newcastle don't win, forget about them. Write them off as a grade 1 horse.
Okay. Right. Okay. Fair enough. We'll leave it at that, lads. Thanks very much for listening. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's Honeysuckle and Rachel